Hello, this is Youngsun again. This is lesson 2, and in addition to lesson 1, we will talk about competency-based curriculum and sustainability education. We will make some connection between these two, and we will also talk about ecosophia. It's a new expression. It's a combined concept. It's about ecology plus Sophia. So the first one is what is competency-based curriculum? And you are all familiar with the OECD Education 2030. And they are talking about this kind of learning compass. So the core part, it says competency. And if we want to develop your student competency, you need to do it with the 3 dimensions. The first one is knowledge. The second one is skills. The third one is attitude and values. And they say it's core foundations. Core foundations means subject area, subject domain. And they are saying this is a student agency, and they are pursuing this through this kind of learning compass. They want to be well-being 2030. And there's co-agencies as well, peers, student peers, colleagues, and teachers and parents, as well as learning community or the living local communities as well. So whenever you're talking about competency, it's about the ability that you need to live your own life with other humans or other beings. So it's all about the way or the ability, the competency, the skills that you need to live in the future or current world. So the first dimension is about cognitive dimension. It includes critical thinking, decision making, adaptive learning, active listening, creativity, and so on. The second part is about intrapersonal. It's about within yourself or inside yourself. It's about living emotionally or affectionately as a whole person. It includes adaptability and integrity and self-direction, grit, citizenship, flexibility, self-monitoring, and so on. The last one is about interpersonal. It's about social dimension. Inter means between, right? So humans, including myself, we cannot live alone. We need to live together in a community. There are lots of communities, and we belong to those communities. So we need competencies regarding interpersonal dimension. It includes leadership, responsibility, teamwork, cooperation, and conflict resolution, etc. So when they say in OECD 2030, they are designating we need 3 components. The first one is know and understand, knowledge. The second one is it's about doing part. It says it's skills. The third one is value. It's about living with other people as well as living in a community. It includes values and attitude. So this is about you need to designate whenever you develop your science curriculum or mathematics curriculum, you are developing students' achievement standards, or sometimes it's called performance standards. And whenever you make this kind of standards, you need to include three dimensions. This is three dimensions. I am showing you an example of Korean science national curriculum. And whenever we say knowledge part, we divide it physics and chemistry and life science and earth science and environmental science. And we designate scientific skills. I mean the skills you need to develop through science education, through science curriculum. We specified those science curriculum in the Korean national curriculum, including problem recognition, design and conduct inquiry, data collection, analysis and interpretation, and after all, drawing conclusions and communication. And there is another part, affectional or value attitude part. It includes aesthetic value of science, scientific usefulness, and sensitivity to nature and science, science creativity and ethics, and enjoy science and culture, and so on. So this is the change with the OECD 2030. As they said in Learning Compass, this knowledge, skill, attitude, and value in Korea, including Korea, we are changing national curriculum and science achievement standards so that the achievement standards include these three dimensions. Okay, so it's the beginning. I mean, whenever we talk about education, the starting point is curriculum. It's about what to teach, how much you teach. In terms of science or mathematics, it's a curriculum, right? Content standards. And after you develop curriculum, the next part is teaching and learning. You need materials, including textbooks, and you also need human resource, which is teachers. So this teaching and learning part include soft and hard materials, including computer, textbooks, all kinds of teaching and learning materials, and teachers. So we need teacher professionalism. It's all about teaching and learning. And the ending part of education, I mean subject education, is assessment. It's kind of quality check. You intended to teach this one. This is what part of curriculum education, right? And then you did. This is how you make a student come to accomplish this content standards. That's how part. And then the final part is a quality check. So this is the flow chart. The first step is you need to specify subject specific competencies, and then you embody these competencies into skills, and then you can develop these skills through teaching and learning activities. Okay, this is the step-by-step procedure. First one, you need to specify your subject specific science competencies, and then you specify or embody those competencies into skills, and then you can develop student skills through your science teaching and learning activities. Okay, so this is whenever we talk about teaching and learning and education, we talk about paradigm. Whenever we talk about paradigm, it's about philosophical foundation. In lesson 1, we talked about humanism and post-humanism paradigm, right? So it's when we say humanism, it's about anthropocentric worldview. I mean, human-centered worldview, human-centered paradigm. And when we talk about post-humanism paradigm, it's about matching ontology and epistemology. So we can think or explore a paradigm in terms of ontology, epistemology, and methodology. Ontology is about being. What is out there? What is a real being? Epistemology is about knowledge. Okay? And then methodology is about from being to knowledge. There is a certain beings, things, and then how did you know? How did you get to know? It's about methodology. It's about how to produce knowledge. Okay? So this is a new paradigm. We will talk about neo-materialism. It's a new paradigm. It's related to Anthropocene, and it's related to ecologism. Okay, we are shifting to a new paradigm. It's called neo-materialism. So what about these ones? Okay, think about this way. This is really all these previous or existing paradigms are anthropocentric paradigm. Okay, it's so human-centered. It's so-called humanism paradigm. And this one is a neo-material, is in that case post-humanism paradigm. Okay, post-humanism paradigm. So we are living another new paradigm. We are also familiar with positivism and constructivism and critical realism. And they are all about realism. They are talking about there is a hierarchy in terms of ontology. Among human, there is also some kind of division or differentiation. Okay, and constructivism is about it include relativism and also it also include phenomenological sociology. And when you talk about critical realism, it's about they want to talk about power relationship. Okay, so these are all human centric paradigms. Okay, and it features only humans are considered as what? Agency. Only humans. That's human centric or humanism paradigm. But with climate change and with all kind of global level climate crisis and ecological crisis, and with all global warming, and we are moving into a new paradigm called neo-materialism. It's the post-human paradigm. And they are talking about different ontologies. They are talking about relationalism. It's all beings have a different attribute depending on the relationship they have. And they are talking about we are not unique beings. All we have relationships. Okay? We are defined with what kind of relationship we have with the other beings. That's relationalism. Okay? And they also talk about flat ontology. Flat ontology means they change as they relate to each other on the plane of immanence. Okay? We are equals. In lesson 1, we talked about beings other than humans. Okay? And with this in neo-materialism, their ontology is about flat ontology. And in those other beings, we talked about robot, right? Artificial intelligence. And material things, and even the earth itself, okay? And we are equals. That's flat ontology. So they are talking about, when you talk about ontology in neo-materialism, they are saying you are who you are depending on your relationship. They are saying we are all relational beings. Okay, all we have is relationship or connection with other beings. That's the ontology of neo-materialism. With this kind of ontology and with this new neo-materialism paradigm, okay, this with the neo-materialism paradigm, we are also changing learning theory paradigm as well. We are accustomed to cognitivism and constructivism, right? And cognitivism is about learning. It relies on individual memory and intelligence. It's like a computer processing device. Our brain is like a computer, CPU. So we process information and produce some kind of output. And this is changing. And these days they are talking about connectivism. It's not about humans alone process information. It's about network learning system using human, physical, and technological networks. And understanding the relationship between learning object in light of various meaning networks, okay? Which means learning occurs throughout all kind of connectivism, through all kinds of connection among humans, physical or technological networks. And there is another one. We talk about constructivism, right? Students, including myself, we are constructing subjective meaning with outside information. Okay? So when we talk about learning, is about learners actively construct knowledge while exploring the meaning of external information. But we are moving toward relationalism learning paradigm. As I talked about neo-materialism, we are all related. We are all connected, right? So in relationalism learning paradigm, they are emphasizing it is an ontology and epistemology that emphasizes the fact that individuals and society are intertwined in an interactive relationship. It's so-called relational materialism. So, according to relationalism learning theory, they are saying learning in the process of inquiry and practice on how to communicate and relate to non-human beings. Okay? They are changing the definition of learning, and they explain the interdependence between beings, such as learners, learning media. They are all emphasizing relational learning. Without connection, without relating to computer and other human beings or other things, learning is not possible. That's a new learning paradigm. And when we talk about sustainability curriculum, it consists of, look here, knowledge and practice and action, knowing and doing, and they also, you need to put that into action. So it's about not just the theoretical. They are also talking about practical embodied knowledge, so-called wisdom. So this is about ecosophia. Okay, they are dividing 3 levels of knowing. The first one is information, ecological information. The second level is ecological knowledge. The top level is ecological wisdom. It's when you say ecological wisdom or ecosophia, it's not about just theoretical knowing, or it's not about information or data level input. You need to do something. Okay? So remember this one. When you say wisdom, it means practical or embodied knowing. Okay? So let's talk about some examples. Whenever you say ecological information, it's about global warming news. You know about that information, okay? And then if you move up to ecological knowledge, you need to say carbon dioxide and methane gas, which are the main cause of global warming. And you need to provide or suggest a method to minimize their emissions, okay? It's about knowledge that is scientific knowledge by the purification or by inquiring something about global warming, okay? And when you move up to ecological wisdom, which is also called ecosophia, you need to make that knowledge, your knowledge alive. How can you make your knowledge alive? You need to put that insight or knowledge into action. So then make some change. Okay, do something. Respond to global warming. Okay, so it's about knowing how to feel hurt by the news of global warming and practicing or teaching, let others know appropriate ecological actions. So it's all about combined with the value of purpose, goals, and the principles. And you need to put that into action, okay? So that's about ecosophia. So we talked about need to transform values-based ecological worldview. It's also called post-humanism or neo-materialism. In a learning ecosystem where everything is interconnected, so they are changing learning theory paradigm as well, such as connectivism or relationalism. And the other one is, if we wanted to overcome this kind of global warming and climate crisis and Earth system crisis, we need ecosophia. What is ecosophia then? The way human beings can overcome ecological crisis is that the transformation of the way of being based on ecological sensibility and wisdom, which is called ecosophia. Okay? So we are changing our research paradigm as well as learning paradigm. And if we want to overcome this climate crisis, we need so-called wisdom, so-called ecosophia, okay? That is lesson 2. Thank you.